Welcome to our online training for the SBR30-150. This training course equips Sunbelt Rentals employees with essential SBR30-150 knowledge and skills, enhancing vendor relationships through effective customer support. By the end of this training course, you will understand general considerations and safety precautions, explain the basic components of the SBR30-150 unit, conduct troubleshooting scenarios, application setup procedures, and understand our customer service structure. Before we dive into this course, let's discuss what the SBR30-150 is. The SBR30-150 is a commercial-scale lithium-ion based energy storage system, also referred to as ESS, which is certified for installation in occupied spaces. This ESS is designed to significantly reduce or even eliminate the need for conventional generators. Providing energy storage in the most rugged conditions, the SBR30-150 features nearly silent operation with zero emissions and virtually no maintenance. The SBR30-150 can be utilized in a variety of functions, including off-grid power supply, grid reinforcement, emergency power utilization, and self-consumption of renewable energy sources, such as wind or solar. Key benefits include zero emissions, on-grid charging, on- and off-grid discharging, generator hybridization operation, microgrid forming and participation. Electrical features include the following: mechanical features include skid-based design compatible with 40-foot trailer sizes, side-axis forklift pockets, single top lift point, full custom enclosure 44 by 50 by 90 inches. The certifications include the following: Now let's discuss best practices for the SBR30-150. It's crucial to operate the SBR30-150 within the boundaries of all state, local, and federal laws, regulations, or codes, and in alignment with Verity's intended manner. Should any queries arise, refer to the operating manual or contact support at 1-866-984-7434. Adhering to and complying with industry standards for handling electrical equipment is expected, along with the obligation to wear the recommended personal protective equipment. Now let's discuss the don'ts for the SBR30-150. The operator should avoid wearing any jewelry or metal during the unit's operation to maintain safety. Misusing the SBR30-150 or operating it in a non-designated manner is strongly discouraged. Operating the SBR30-150 in violation of any state, local, and federal laws, regulations, or codes is prohibited. It's important to not open the RPS-50 packs as it could affect their functionality. Overriding or changing any fault codes is not permissible, as it could jeopardize the system's performance and safety. In addition to this outline, more detailed learning objectives, hands-on training guides, learning assessment documents, and delivery schedules will be provided during the course. Upon completion of this course, participants will have obtained the following skills: Now that you have a basic understanding of what to expect from this course, it is time to meet your instructor for today. For further information, please contact our customer service at 1-866-984-7434.
Hello, my name is Edward Sneezak, and I am the Product Development Engineer Manager at the Buffalo office of Verity Parente. And welcome to the training video for the SBR30-150. The SBR30-150 is a battery-powered lithium-ion energy storage system. It has a max capacity of charging and discharging at 30 kW and also has a battery capacity of 132 kilowatt hours. Now, let's get into some of the features of the device. First, I'd like to talk about some of the electrical connections that we have on our SBR30-150. Important to note, our safety emergency stop button is down here as well, which will cut power to all the batteries on the system. Similar to all generators, we have convenience outlets for use to charge your tools as well as other devices. We have two 120 volt connections for GFCIs. We have one NEMA L530R locking receptacle, 120 volt, 30 amp. We have two twist lock receptacles, a single phase 208 volt, 50 amp circuits, and then a single NEMA 14-50R 208 volt single phase 50 amp circuit. Behind this lower panel are two 12 volt lead acid batteries in series, which provide our 24 volt power to power up the unit. If one of those are low or both are low, we also have a Norco trickle charger that you can plug into a normal 120 volt outlet to recharge those batteries. The last two connection points I want to talk about are cam lock connections. Typical, you have your 400 amp cam lock connection for 3-phase, selectable 480 volts or 208 volts. The first and left-hand side one is for your load/grid connection. Your second one, your right-hand side, is for your auxiliary generator for your generator hybrid setup. Next, I want to touch base on some of the key electrical components and control components of the SBR30-150. The first device is our main HMI, IFM HMI CR1152S. This is the main controller of the entire unit that has all the logic in that will run the machine. Also in the front, we have two dual DIFE control units. The first DIFE is set up as a ASC150 energy storage unit, which is set up for paralleling with other paralleling units. Second is our DIFE BTB or bus tie breaker, which is used to synchronize with non-synchronous generators. Each DIFE unit is equipped with 6 voltage transformers and 3 current transformers to measure the power, current, voltage, and frequency of the power going through the device. We also have our RPS50 batteries, which are actually engineered and manufactured in the Buffalo office. We have a string of 3 batteries, gives us a nominal DC voltage of 600 volts DC, which gives us the 132 kWh capacity in this string. To use this capacity, we have a Sync cell inverter, a 30 kW bidirectional inverter. It converts the DC voltage from the batteries to AC voltage for usage, and it also will take an AC voltage input and convert it to DC to recharge the batteries. Our IFM PLC works in tandem with our IFM HMI for startup and control of our system. The PLC is used to provide digital and analog inputs and outputs which help control and monitor the entire system. Next, I want to talk about our Verity VCOM E1500 IoT device. This device is LTE equipped, which allows for remote access and monitoring of machine status. It also sends the data up to our Vista front end, which will allow for data analytics and information of our running devices. Another aspect of this device is it provides a gateway into the machine for additional remote troubleshooting, as well as program updates from remote location. Next, I want to get into some additional electrical components on the SBR30-150. For these components, it's always important, as you can see, to wear your proper PPE when working on high voltage equipment. First, this is a high voltage DC power distribution unit. The main focus of this device is to pre-charge circuit so we do not do any damage to our RPS50 batteries or downstream any other electrical component. Next is our low voltage PDM unit. This is our 24 volt power distribution module, as well as control module for our 24 volt relays. We have in the back a net power DC-DC, which will help recharge our lead acid batteries that are down below. And buried in here is our transformer that will take our 480 volt delta system and convert it to a 208 volt Y system through our transfer switch. Here we have our transfer switch, which will adjust our voltage input from 480 volts to 208 volts. We also have our 100 amp breaker and 50 amp breaker here for depending on your transfer switch location. We have our 150 amp breakers down here for our cam lock connections. and our convenience outlet breakers below that. Next, I want to go through the user interface navigation and some of the screens that are currently programmed on the SBR30-150. On power up, the first screen you will see is your mode selection. Right now we have 6 modes programmed. You have your on-grid charging for your load cam, which is also an on-grid discharge. You have your on-grid charging for your auxiliary cam. You have your off-grid discharge, your generator hybrid mode, your microgrid mode, and then your offline mode, which will be turning the machine off. From there, we have an overview screen, which will kind of show a high level of the state of the machines in with power, current, and voltage flow, as well as the state of charge. Status will have a little bit more detail on each of the legs from the inverter, the load grid side, and the generator side. Set points is where you'll make some adjustments based on what you are doing in different modes. You have your generator start delay, your generator minimum runtime, your active power set point, and your minimum maximum state of charge used on your generator hybrid mode. Alarms will show up what the active alarm is, as well as you can go into the history and see the history of what has occurred on the machine. Manual function screen will allow you to test and make sure that contactors are working as they should be. Manual enable contactor 1 will pull in your cam, will allow power flow to your load grid cam locks. Manual enable contactor 2 will allow power flow through your auxiliary generator cam locks. And generator remote enable contactor will pull in the dry contact to send the start signal to the remote generator. Next, we're going to go through a generator hybrid setup. I'm going to do this connection at a 208 volt setup. Currently, we already have the 2-wire remote start wire connected to our generator and to our SBR unit. I will then connect our generator connection to our auxiliary generator connection point, cam locks. I will then connect our load to our load grid cam locks. Again, we will be running this mode at 208 volts, so I will put the transfer to the 208 volt position. And then from user interface, select our generator hybrid mode. Follow the on-screen prompts for 208 volt mode. Load is set up for 208 volts. And then at this point, you can select your generator size you are paralleling with. Ours is the 36 kW generator, and that is set for 208 volts as well. Now I'm going to go through some of the mode selection and mode setups for the SBR30-150. First mode I'm going to do is our off-grid discharge example with an actual Sunbelt load bank. I'm going to hook up our cam locks to the load grid side cam lock setup, put our transfer switch in the 480 volt position, and select the mode on the user interface. With any mode selection, you'll be prompted with some dialog boxes to make sure you are doing exactly what you want to do. Transfer switch at 480 volts, yes. Load setup for 480 volts, yes. And on the overview screen, you should be able to see the power flow when the unit kicks on. Next, we're going to go through a standard on-grid charge to recharge the unit. I'm going to hook up our cam locks to the load grid side from our utility, verify and put our transfer switch in the 480 volt position, and select the on-grid charging mode from our user interface panel. Typically, when you go to the on-grid charge mode, the light mode will highlight green and stay on and continue charging, but because of our units are fully charged right now, that's why it turned on and then shut right back off. When I hooked up the cam locks, the power of the utility was turned off. Once power is energized, our system live light will indicate showing that we have power flowing into the system. This is their first warning to let you know that there is power actively flowing through this machine. The last operating mode I want to talk about is a paralleling mode, where we can actually parallel our units with similar units of our own or other paralleling generators. I'll go through the connection on one of our units. You'll see a brief scan of 4 units connected together. First, you'd hook up your cam locks from your load grid cam lock connections up to a bus or I-line panel. Next, you have your DIFE CAN bus cable, which daisy chains between your machines for CAN bus communication of the DIFE units. At the beginning and end of the run, you need to have the terminating resistor on to complete the circuit. At that point in time, you can then turn on your microgrid mode.
Here are some things to consider about the double DIFE unit. The double DIFE unit can work in parallel with additional SBR30-150 units, thereby increasing the overall power and storage capacity. The unit has been designed to synchronize with other DIFE-equipped generators, battery systems, and PV systems, allowing the creation of a standalone microgrid system. Additionally, it can also synchronize with other DIFE-equipped systems to provide essential grid support. It's crucial to operate the SBR30-150 within the boundaries of all state, local, and federal laws, regulations, or codes, and in alignment with Verity's intended manner. Should any queries arise, refer to the operating manual or contact support at 1-866-984-7434. Adhering to and complying with industry standards for handling electrical equipment is expected, along with the obligation to wear the recommended personal protective equipment. Now let's discuss the don'ts for the SBR30-150. The operator should avoid wearing any jewelry or metal during the unit's operation to maintain safety. Misusing the SBR30-150 or operating it in a non-designated manner is strongly discouraged. Operating the SBR30-150 in violation of any state, local, and federal laws, regulations, or codes is prohibited. It's important to not open the RPS-50 packs as it could affect their functionality. Overriding or changing any fault codes is not permissible, as it could jeopardize the system's performance and safety.
This concludes our training video of the SBR30-150. For additional information, please refer to the QR code inside the panel door right here. On this QR code resides our quick start guide and our user guide for this machine. For any additional questions or concerns, please call the 1-800 number.